We present King Street Jr. by Jim Eldridge, starring Peter Davison as Eric Brown and James Grout as Mr. Beeston, the headmaster.
Oh, thank God.
Hard morning.
You can say that again.
Well, you can't resign yet. I'm first in the queue.
Honestly, it's been one thing after another. Julia's chair collapsed right in the middle of class. Sandeep lost his ruler and accused Gary Fletcher of pinching it.
He probably did. It runs in the family.
I don't know. I just couldn't get them to settle down.
I shouldn't worry. Happens to all of us.
Oh, I'm sorry. I interrupted your crossword.
Oh, that's all right. I wasn't getting very far with it.
Oh, no.
I think they've got a new compiler.
Who had the last cup out of this teapot?
Don't look at me.
It's not me.
I'm going to put up a note about it.
No, not another one. That board's starting to look like a tobacconist's window.
Well, I think it's a bit much when whoever's unlucky enough to come in late can't get a cup of tea.
Absolutely.
Whoever took the last one should put the kettle on again.
Here.
I always do.
I didn't mean you.
Which reminds me, everyone... can I have your attention for a few seconds, please? Right? Now, everyone, can I check? Has everyone seen the note I sent round about tomorrow's parents' evening?
Yes.
Good. Well, just an extra reminder. Please remember that some parents have got more than one teacher to see. No, yes, I know, but for them, tomorrow evening will be like a relay race. So please make sure there's as little confusion as possible, no bottlenecks. We don't want all the parents from one class at the same time. Well, anyway, that's all I want to say. Thank you.
God, I hate parents' evenings.
Why?
Half the time you just keep saying the same things over and over again. Yes, Mrs. So-and-so, your son is getting along fine. Yes, Mr. So-and-so, your daughter is making good progress. You ought to just make a recording of them and play that over to the parents.
What about the children who aren't doing so well?
Their parents don't bother to turn up.
Oh, surely they do.
In the main, they don't, do they, Fred?
They don't care, Brown. That's one of the problems.
I don't think I'd ever seen Miriam Todd's parents all the time she's been here. And that's what? 3-4 years?
Yes, must be.
I went round to her house a couple of times and got the door slammed in my face.
Mrs. Partridge was very concerned about her.
I'm not surprised.
What will you do about tomorrow evening?
How do you mean?
Well, with Mrs. Partridge being in hospital.
No problem. Mr. Beeston's had a word with the supply teacher. What's the chap's name?
West.
John West.
That's him. He said he'd pop in for an hour or so to let the parents look around the class. Anyway, the class are having their parents' evening proper when Mrs. Partridge comes back.
How is she? Has anybody heard?
What's this? How is who?
He was asking about Mrs. Partridge.
She's ill, Mr. Brown. That's why she's in the hospital.
I know that. I just wondered how she was, if anyone had been to see her.
I've no idea.
Of course, under normal circumstances, I would most certainly have gone to see her, but what with extra music rehearsals and then this parents' evening tomorrow. Oh, the kettle's boiled good.
Hands off, I'm first.
Aha! Do I see a kettle boiling?
Oh, hello, Mr. West. I'm just making tea. Do you want a cup?
Do I want a cup?
After me, if you don't mind, Mr. West.
Of course, beauty before age, Mrs. Rudd.
Oh, thank you.
How'd you like it, Mr. West?
Oh, as it comes. The cup that cheers, the brew that soothes.
Thank you, Lord Byron.
Do you mind if I join you?
Please do. Let's go and sit over
Smooth
here.
operator,
Wherever
huh?
you lead,
I suppose so.
follow.
Mr. Holliday?
Yes?
Could I have a word with you about this parents' evening?
What do you want to know?
Well, you see, it's my first one, and I'm not quite sure how to handle it. I don't want to get it wrong or anything.
Nothing to it. You cope.
Well, I'm sure I will if it's fairly straightforward, but what do I do if I'm faced with a complaint?
What do you mean, complaint?
Well, say some of the parents feel that their child isn't getting on as well as he or she could.
Yeah.
Well, they'll probably hold me responsible.
They won't.
What if they do?
Treat it with the contempt it deserves.
I can't do that.
Look, if you've got a difficult parent, make a note of their name and pass it on to me.
Well, I would be very grateful for any help you could give me.
Help? Who said anything about help?
Well, I'm sorry, isn't that what you meant? If I gave you the names?
Certainly not. I'd like to know which parents to avoid in the future.
Oh.
Now, I think I'm going to grab another cup of tea while that pot's still fresh. How about you?
No, thank you. I think I'd better go and see if I can do something about that broken chair.
Please, Mr. Brown,
Yes, Sandeep.
what do we do when we finish the first 10 questions? Do we go on to the next lot?
Yes, but not before you finish the first. Now, what is that?
No, it's the next door, sir. Miss Partridge's room.
I know where it's coming from.
Shall I go and look?
No, you carry on with your work.
Oh, please.
No, Sandeep.
But it might be an accident, sir. Someone might be hurt.
There'll be an accident in here if you don't shut up. Now get on with your work.
All right, sir.
Can you pass the water along, please?
Sorry?
The water.
Oh, yes, here.
Thanks. You're looking rather thoughtful today.
Am I?
Anything in particular?
No.
Sorry, I'm being nosy.
No, it's all right. It's just... No, it's not.
If you don't want to talk about it, you don't have to.
Well, actually, I'd like to, but...
Come on, tell Auntie Glenda.
Do you mind?
Of course not. What is it?
Well, what do you think of Mr. West?
I'm not sure what you mean.
Well, just generally.
I hardly know him. He seems nice enough. Certainly livens up the staff room a bit, don't you think?
If you like that sort of thing.
No, it's good to have a new face around. And he's always very cheerful. That's good, isn't it?
Yes.
Anyway, what's the point of this? What's he getting at?
Nothing, really, but there was a terrible rumpus coming from his room this morning.
What sort of a rumpus?
Well, lots of noise and laughing. I thought they were never going to stop.
Well, it does happen occasionally, you know. It depends on what he was doing.
Oh, no, but it was all so uncontrolled. What?
Good afternoon, fellow workers. May I incur on your pleasure?
Ooh, that depends on what you're going to do with it.
I'm always open to suggestions, particularly from the fair sex.
You can sit here if you want. I've got to be going.
Oh, don't let me break up this little tete-a-tete.
No, you aren't. There's some things I've got to sort out for tomorrow.
That's the spirit I like to see.
Well, the work has to get done.
Of course, but it always will. There'll always be some idiot around who'll do it, eh?
Thank you.
Don't get me wrong. I didn't mean you.
Good. Well, I'll be going then. I'll see you later.
Oh, I do hope I haven't offended him.
Well, I don't think so. Anyway, he'll get over it.
Yes. Well, now, what do you recommend? The set lunch, or shall I select a la carte?
It doesn't matter. It all tastes the same.
Right, out you go. Quickly now.
Please, Mr. Holiday.
Out.
No, it's the tea money, sir.
Well, come back later. I'm just on my way to the staff room to have mine.
I can do you change if you like.
Later, I said.
Yes, sir. When later, Mr. Holiday?
Out! Now, what did I do with that list? I said out! Oh. Hello, Miss Lewis. I'm just going to have my tea.
Well, before you do, can I have a word?
Fire away.
Where's Mr. Beeston today? I want to see him.
He had to go to a meeting at County Hall.
Blast.
What is it? Can I help?
Have you been in the computer room today?
No. Why?
Someone's wiped the program our class was working on.
What?
Somebody has deleted the whole program, and I reckon it was done deliberately.
No, surely not.
Have you ever tried removing a program from a floppy disk?
Well, I didn't do it.
Well, someone did. And it's been done either today or yesterday, because it was there yesterday morning.
Would you like me to send a note round?
No. I want to find out who did it and kill them. I wanted that program specially to show it off to the parents tomorrow evening.
Oh, beware, King Street. Miss Lewis is on the warpath.
Let me see. A blank C blank blank S. Well, it isn't an anagram. Hello there.
Oh, hello.
You're sneaking off from little beggars too, eh?
No, this is my free period.
Ah.
I didn't think Mrs. Partridge had a free period in the last session.
Oh, she hasn't. This is a fag break.
Oh, what?
Well, no one should be expected to suffer kids all day. Is this your newspaper?
No.
Oh, good, because I've half done the crossword.
But what about your class?
What about them? Cigarette?
No, thanks. You can't just leave them unattended.
Don't worry, they've got work to do. I've told them to do some copying.
To copy what?
Well, anything. You're new to this teaching lark, aren't you?
Well, comparatively, yes.
Well, you ought to use that. It's a useful skive. Keeps the little parishes quiet and you don't have to mark it.
So what's the purpose of it?
Handwriting practice, officially. In reality, it gives me a fag break.
That's very clever.
I know. That's experience for you. Anyway, I suppose I better be getting back. Go and earn me crust. See you later.
Honestly, fancy doing someone else's crossword. Oh, hello, Mrs. Rudd.
Mr. Brown.
Ah, I see you've got it.
Got what?
My newspaper. I've been looking all over for it. I need it for my lesson. There's a little quotation I wanted to use.
Oh, here you are.
Thank you. Oh,
What?
Really, Mr. Brown, you might have asked first before filling in my crossword. I don't know what Mr. Rudd will have to say.
No, Mrs. Rudd,
We always do the crossword together last thing before going to bed.
But I didn't do
I
it.
am in a hurry now, but I shall discuss this with you later.
But it wasn't me.
Honestly, Mr. Brown, you're as bad as the children.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and... Oh, no, that isn't right. Ah. Well, then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... Oh, really?
Right. Assembly over and all's well.
No, it isn't.
What isn't?
Mrs. Partridge's register, it isn't right.
Oh, what's wrong with it?
Well, it doesn't tally. Look, the addition at the bottom is wrong, and the number of sandwich children is wrong on the dinner register. Mr. West's got it wrong every day this week.
Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear.
Oh, it's important. We must have the figures right.
Or else the whole of civilization as we know it will collapse.
Oh, it's all right for you. You don't have to fill in the forms for County Hall.
Thank heaven.
And another thing. He's marked some children present who I know are absent.
Ah, has he now? That's different.
Look here. I mean, Jimmy Sims, there's a tick. But I know he's off because his sister came in to tell me. And yesterday, do you see, Amrit Singh's marked present. But he was away from school all day.
Right. I'll have a word with Mr. West about this.
I wish you would. I mean, it's all very slipshod. I don't like it at all.
Not to worry, Mrs. Stone. All will be well, I promise you.
And it wouldn't be a bad idea if you had a word with Mr. Brown as well.
Oh, don't tell me he's playing fast and loose with his register.
Oh, if only Mr. West was as meticulous as Mr. Brown. No. Haven't you noticed him in the last day or two?
Not particularly. Maybe a bit quieter than usual. But then again, he's not exactly Mr. Extrovert, is he?
I thought he looked a bit down, as though he might be sickening for something.
Oh, I hope not. We have enough trouble getting supply teachers as it is.
Well, it wouldn't hurt to have a word with him, though, would it?
A bit of gentle probing.
You? Gentle?
Of course.
That's about the most ridiculous thing you've said this term.
I can't win today, can I?
Now, will you please let me get on? I've got to get these registers balanced.
Excuse me, is anyone sitting here?
No, help yourself.
Oh, thanks.
What's this, working during break?
I'm just checking the children's work, really.
Same thing. Still, at least I don't have to make conversation.
I'd rather you didn't.
Right.
By the way, did I hear there's a staff meeting at lunchtime?
Yes, about the parents' evening.
Oh, I'd better press on with this, then.
What a good idea.
As I was saying, the most bizarre school I was at was when I did half a term at a school in the north of the county.
They're all bizarre up there. Tea?
Oh, thanks, yeah. Well, anyway, at this particular school, the headmaster was a transvestite.
Oh, no.
Oh, for goodness sake, turn it down a bit, will you?
Well, yes, he was, honestly. Anyway, he was caught one night in a police raid on a club. And there he was, in full drag, and you won't believe this bit, one of the arresting officers was an ex-pupil from his school.
Oh, God.
So, anyway, this copper, who was very embarrassed, as you can imagine, he takes him down the station, orders him to take his clothes off. So, on comes the drag, off come the fake boobs, etc. But what do you think he's wearing underneath it all?
I can't wait.
Come here.
Oh, this is impossible. Coming here for a bit of peace and quiet is like a monkey house.
What's wrong with him?
Steady on.
You're like a load of bloody monkeys.
Oh, temper.
Honestly, I'm going to finish these in the classroom.
Yes, but silver lame.
So that's the basic routine of the evening. Everyone happy so far? So, please keep things moving. We don't want to end up with corridors looking like the crowd scene out of Exodus.
I've already told them that.
Oh, have you? Oh, right. As you were.
I'd like to make a point about my timetable this evening.
I'm sure you would, Mrs. Rudd, but can I finish first? I'd like all teachers to be out of the building by 10 p.m., because the caretaker will be locking up at that time. Now, Mrs. Rudd, you had something to say.
Yes, I'd like everyone to know that if any parent wishes to see me about their child's musical progress, I shall be in my room between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m.
Yes?
That's all I want to say.
Is it?
Of course it is.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Rudd. Well, any other points? Mr. Holliday?
No, I think we've covered everything. Everything foreseeable, at any rate.
Fine.
Actually, I'd like to mention something, if I may.
Yes, Mr. West?
Well, it's just that I hope everyone will understand why I can only pop in for half an hour tonight.
I'm sure we all do.
I thought you were coming for an hour.
Well, I was originally, but when I checked my diary for this evening...
Well, you found you had a prior engagement.
Yes, I did.
Well, Mr. West is only here on a supply basis. I think we're all grateful to him for coming in at all.
Well, yes, but look...
As we all know, Mrs. Partridge will be having her parents' evening proper when she comes back.
Yes, but I will be in for about half an hour, if you can all put up with me.
It'll be 15 minutes by tonight.
Yes, Mr. Brown?
No, it's nothing.
Mr. Beeston,
Yes.
while everyone's here, I'd like to know which one of you deleted my class's programme from its disk.
Anybody?
Me.
Look, my class worked very hard on that programme. It took a long time to write, and now somebody has deliberately wiped it out. And I'm very angry.
Or perhaps it was one of the children.
No, I don't think so.
It's possible.
Well, I suppose it's possible, but unlikely.
Right, well, if you'd all like to ask your classes if they know anything about it.
What was your programme called?
Wiggler. It was about a worm.
Will you all make a note of that?
I think you should have called it Wriggler.
Why?
If you want to be more accurate, a worm is a wriggler, not a wiggler.
Look, if I want to call it Wiggler, I'll call it Wiggler. Anyway, there's only space for 7-digit titles on a disc.
Then just call it Wriggle.
Look, can we leave the arguments over whether a worm wiggles or wriggles until another time?
I think so.
So if there's nothing else, I declare this meeting over. Thank you.
Mr. Brown,
Yes, Maria.
I've come to see if you've got your tea money.
Oh, yes.
I know, you'll pay me later.
No, I'll give it to you now.
Now in cash?
Of course. Yeah?
Tom, do you know you're the first one who's paid up? All the other teachers are really tight.
You've got to keep at them.
I know.
Oh, by the way, Maria,
Yes?
you're in Mrs. Partridge's class, aren't you?
Yeah.
Tell me, do you like having Mr. West as your teacher?
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Oh, you like him then?
Yeah, we don't do nothing.
Really?
Yeah, he lets us get on with whatever we want. It's a bit boring sometimes, but it's all right.
I see.
Anyway, I better get on. I want to get some more of this money before class starts.
Yes, well, don't forget what I said. You keep at them.
I will, Mr. Brown, thank you.
Yes, Mr. Khan, that's right. Between 7 and 9:30 tonight. Yes, there'll be directions to all the different classrooms and the teachers. We'll see you this evening, then. Goodbye.
Who was that?
Mr. Khan, his daughter's in the language unit.
Oh, well, at least we know one parent's coming tonight.
Are the staff all ready for the invasion?
As ready as they ever will be. Put the parents face to face with that lot, it'll kill off any confidence they ever had in the education system.
What about Mr. Brown?
Well, compared to the rest, he's almost normal.
No. Have you spoken to him yet?
Oh, hell, I knew there was something I'd forgotten.
Honestly.
I should have had a word with him after the staff meeting.
Is he looking any happier?
Not a lot. On the other hand, that's nothing to go by. Most teachers get that defeated look after they've been at it for a while.
Oh, by the way, Maria tells me she's having trouble getting the tea money out of the staff.
I'm not surprised. Everyone has problems getting money out of teachers. Talk about mission impossible.
But can't you do something? It's a bit hard on the poor girl.
All right, I'll go and drop a few threats here and there.
Well, Maria will be grateful.
But just to make sure, give her a crowbar. If she can't prize it out of them willingly, she has my permission to hit them over the head with it and pinch the money.
Oh, what a sensitive soul you are.
I know. I'll see you later.
Mr. Brown?
Yes, what is it?
Hang on. Want a word with you.
Not now. I've got things to do before parents' evening.
What the hell was all that about in the staff room today?
What are you talking about?
Honestly, you were so rude.
Was I?
You really were. I had no idea you could be so beastly.
Well, now you do, don't you?
God, if you can't have a bit of a laugh now and then.
A bit of a laugh?
What is it? Why are you so uptight about him?
I'm not uptight.
Yes, you are. It was the same at the staff meeting. What have you got against him?
Nothing.
I don't believe it.
Well, you can believe what you want.
You're jealous of him, aren't you?
Me? Jealous of that twit?
Yes.
What have I got to be jealous of him about?
That's the $64 question, isn't it?
I see. So because everybody else thinks he's the greatest thing since sliced bread, that means there's got to be something wrong with me. I'm going.
I tell you this for nothing. He's a damn sight more fun than you are.
Well, if that's all you're looking for, you're welcome to him. I'll see you.
You finished?
Oh, nearly. I've just got one more set of parents to come.
Should keep an eye on the time.
Oh, don't worry, I won't get locked in.
Well, how did you get on with them?
All right, I think. How did you find yours?
I opened the door at 7 and there they were, all 2,000 of them. Any complaints?
Sorry?
You said yesterday you were worried about complaints.
Oh, yes.
I half expected a delegation of angry parents from the way you were going on.
No problems in that direction.
I told you not to worry.
Hello, what's this? Private staff meeting?
Come in. Or are you waiting for a parent?
No, I've just finished. I saw you both here, so I thought I'd pop in and say goodnight. I'm off home.
So am I. I'll give you a lift.
Oh, won't it take you out of your way?
No. I'll cut down past the park, then I'll turn left at the off-licence, and that'll bring me back straight onto the bypass.
Oh, thanks. What about you, Mr. Brown?
Oh, he's got one more lot to go.
Oh, hard luck.
Mr. and Mrs. Naheen.
Well, they never turn up.
Well, they sent the form back.
They always do, but they never turn up.
Last year, Mr. Walker waited for them till gone 9:30.
What time are they booked for?
9:30.
Oh, come on. Let's go before we start feeling sorry for them.
All right.
Oh, did you find out who wiped your programme?
No. It'll remain one of those great unsolved mysteries.
Like why does toast always fall on the buttered side? See you tomorrow, Brown.
Right.
Good night.
Oh, good night, Miss Lewis. Roll on 9:30.
Hello. All on your own?
Yes.
I saw the dynamic duo leaving. You know you're the only one left?
I'm waiting for Mr. and Mrs. Naheen.
Well, you'll be here forever if you wait for them. It's like the 37 bus, they never turn up.
Well, I think I'll hang on just in case.
Everything go all right tonight?
Yes, fine, I think.
Good. And otherwise, everything okay?
I'm not with you.
Well, you know, and generally, no problems, nothing bothering you, that sort of thing.
Well, why do you ask?
No reason. I just thought you'd been looking a bit, unhappy the last day or two.
Have
I thought so. Still, if everything's okay, no problem at school, that's fine.
Well, actually, no, I'd better not.
Of course, if there is something on your mind, I don't like to see an unhappy teacher, Mr. Brown.
No, it would be unprofessional.
Come on, spit it out.
Well, it's Mr. West.
Well, what about him?
I'm worried about him.
Well, if that's all it is, I should forget it. He strikes me as being perfectly capable of looking after himself.
Well, that's partly what worries me, I suppose.
I see.
I mean, I don't like to tell tales, but...
Yeah?
Oh, no, this is ridiculous. I shouldn't be talking like this. I've hardly been teaching 5 minutes.
God, this is like getting blood out of a stone. What is it, man?
Well, I don't think Mr. West is a very good teacher.
Really?
By that, I mean, I don't think he's doing the children in Mrs. Partridge's class any good at all.
Oh, what makes you say that?
Well, his room is next door to mine.
I know that.
Oh, yes, but do you know the class has done hardly any work within this week? All they do is play around all the time.
Maybe that's his way of teaching. I mean, there's more than one, you know.
But he isn't teaching. He isn't doing anything. He's just, lazy. Oh, he's a great hit in the staff room. Everyone thinks he's wonderful, but it's the children that matter, isn't it?
Of course.
But he's doing nothing for them. Nothing at all.
Well, they like him.
Well, maybe, but he's here to teach, isn't he?
Right.
Well, I don't think he's any good. As a teacher. Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't be saying all this, not to you.
No, you shouldn't. But it's obviously giving you a lot of concern.
Well, yes, it is.
Mr. Brown, what do you think goes to make a good teacher?
Oh, well, that's a tricky one.
That's right. No hard and fast rules, are there?
Not really.
Easier to define bad teachers, perhaps.
I hadn't really thought about it.
No reason why you should. But there are some about, we both know that. Sadists, crooks, ignorant people who frankly shouldn't be allowed within 5 miles of a living organism, let alone a child. Can I assume you wouldn't put Mr. West in any of those categories?
Well, no, of course not.
So he's not bad in that sense.
Well, no, I didn't mean to imply that. My point is he just isn't doing anything. He isn't actually teaching. And it lowers standards.
Oh, I see.
Well, in my opinion, it does.
What gives you the right to set standards for other teachers?
All right, but what about the standards that we should be giving the children?
It'd lower their standards even more if we had to send them home because we didn't have a supply teacher to look after.
Well, does that mean anyone will do?
No, of course it doesn't. All right, so Mr. West happens to be the only supply teacher available. But the children like him. That goes a long way with me.
But it doesn't alter the fact he's lazy.
So you said. But he's also good fun.
Oh, not you as well.
In fact, that's probably his secret.
Huh.
The kids like you, don't they?
Well, I think so. I hope so.
Which suggests you've got your secret. I'm damned if I know what it is.
So, what about Mr. West?
And what about him?
Well, aren't you going to do anything about what I've told you?
Like what?
Well, have a quiet word, something like that.
Mr. Brown, when I need you to tell me how to do my job, I'll ask.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean it like that.
No, and I've only gone along with all this because I know you're sincere. And you're obviously concerned.
For the children?
Yes, and that's as it should be. But Mr. West is not your responsibility, it's mine. And I'm not worried about it. Therefore, neither should you be.
Well,
While we're on this subject, I just wonder, there couldn't be another reason for all this concern, a bit more personal.
What do you mean?
Well, a little bird tells me that Mr. West has got quite friendly with Mrs. Patterson.
So?
A little touch of the green-eyed monster.
Certainly not.
You sure?
Yes, and it's unfair of you to suggest it. Anyway, I wouldn't be so unprofessional as to let
What?
that...
Criticise a colleague behind his back?
Well...
Sorry. I couldn't resist that. But you think about it. It's always a good idea to get your motives absolutely clear. Anyway, I'm off. I'll leave you to wait for the Naheens. If they're not here by midnight, I'd give up and go home if I were you.
I still think he was the one who wiped Miss Lewis's programme.
Well, of course he was.
What?
Yes, he admitted so to Miss Lewis tonight.
Well, so I was right.
It's purely accidental, I gather.
But Miss Lewis told me just now she didn't know who'd done it.
Ah, well, that's because he charmed her. You can get away with anything if you've got a bit of charm.
So it seems.
It's another useful lesson on how to survive in teaching. Good God!
What?
They're coming down the corridor. Mr. and Mrs. Naheen.
Oh, good.
Well, I always wanted to be present at a miracle.
I'll leave you to it, Mr. Brown. Good night.
You've been listening to King Street Junior by Jim Eldridge, and starring Peter Davison as Eric Brown and James Grout as Mr. Beeston, the headmaster. Tom Watson featured as Mr. Holliday, the deputy head. Margaret John as Mrs. Stone, school secretary. Vivian Martin as Mrs. Rudd. Deirdre Costello as Mrs. Patterson. And Marlene Sidaway as Miss Lewis. Mr. West was played by Peter Childs. Maria by Samantha Cahill. And Sandeep by Robert Lynham. The producer was John Fawcett Wilson.